And close the eyes or bring the gaze down. Melting the shoulders down away from the ears. Crown of the head is lifting towards the ceiling. And then notice where your torso is in relation to your legs. So it may mean that you need to bring your torso back slightly to get that back in a nice neutral position. Or you may want to sit forward a little bit if that feels better. But just bring some awareness to that. And then start to lengthen each breath. And then looking for that ebb and flow, that equal inhale and exhale. Trying to bring the breath in and out of the nostrils. Or if you're a little congested or it just proves a little challenging, bring the breath in through the nose and out of the mouth. And then take a few more breaths here to think about what your intention is today for the next 45 minutes. How you're going to move through this practice, and how you'll approach the rest of your day. And then bring your focus to the crown of the head, smoothing out the forehead, softening the muscles around the eyes, relaxing the cheeks, relaxing the ears, and then releasing the jaw by either moving the jaw side to side or opening your mouth as wide as you can and closing it a few times. Bringing that jaw back to stillness, bringing the focus down the neck, softening all sides of the neck. Shoulders are melting down away from the ears. Arms are a little heavy. And then bring your focus to your hands, spreading your fingers wide and scrunching them up a few times, releasing tension in the hands. Next time you scrunch up the fingers, do some wrist circles in one direction and in the other direction. And bring the hands back to stillness. Focus comes to the heart center, softening that, relaxing the rib cage, the sides of the torso, the entire spine from the very top of the spine where it meets with the skull, all the way through the tailbone. And allow the hips to soften, settle onto the mat. Relax the groin muscles, the upper legs, the knees and the lower legs, softening the ankles, and the entire foot, the tops of the feet, the heels, arches, balls of the feet, and the toes. And then spread the toes wide and scrunch them up a couple times, releasing tension in the feet. Coming back to stillness, taking a breath or two here, making sure that crown of the head is coming towards the ceiling. One more inhale with head at center. And on the exhale, drop that chin towards the chest as you lift chest towards chin. Lengthening the back of the neck, letting the head be heavy. Inhale to bring that chin through center towards the ceiling, opening up the front of the neck. One more inhale here. And on the exhale, bring the head back to center. We'll start to do a few rotations with the head in one direction, either a full circle or a half. We're warming up neck and shoulders here. One more circle in this direction and reverse it. Bringing the head back to center and tipping that left ear towards the left shoulder. You can reach out with the right hand in line with the right hip just to get a little more stretch through that right side. You can bring that left hand to the right ear, kind of cradling the head, giving it just a slight resistance. But you should feel the stretch on the right side. One more inhale here. And on the exhale, we'll switch sides. Right ear comes towards right shoulder. One more inhale here. And on the exhale, release the arms, bring the head back to center. And we'll plant the hands on top of the shoulders, few elbow circles out to the side. In one direction. And in the other direction. Coming back to a center position, we're going to sweep the arms overhead, lengthening the sides of the torso. Big inhale here. Exhale, reach forward, rooting the hips onto the mat as you come into a forward fold. You can drop the head down, lengthening the back of the neck. Reaching out to that natural stopping point, getting some nice gentle stretching across the upper back and the shoulders and the arms. Inhale to look up, walk the hands back towards the body. And then we're going to plant the hands on top of the knees. Take an inhale as you bring the torso forward. Exhale to bring the torso back. Starting to warm up the hips. Navel is coming towards spine. And you're trying to keep the hips rooted onto the mat as if you were making circles around them. And reverse the direction. Take one more circle in this direction, and we'll meet back in a center position. Take a breath or two here. And then when you're ready, scoop the legs behind you to come into a table position. Making sure knees are right under hips. Wrist creases are right under the shoulders, fingers are spread wide, and all edges of that palm are pressing into the mat. From here, we'll do some traditional cat-cows. Inhale, lifting head, chest, tailbone. Exhale, tucking the tailbone under, rounding the upper back. Starting to get the spinal extension, spinal flexion. Warming up the spinal column, the vertebra. Take one more cat, one more cow. And then we'll come back to a neutral table position, bringing the hips towards the shoulders. Neutralizing the spine. And then from here, we're going to curl the toes under, but we're not going to lift the knees. You may want to bring the knees really close together, even allowing the big toes to touch. And then start to walk the hands back as you bring the hips towards the heels. This can be a very intense pose, either in the feet or in the knees. So just come to your point of sensation without pain, without going past that. And just take a few breaths here. The reason we're doing this is to get the foot stretch. So I'm really pressing my heels back. And this is a pose that for me varies day to day. Sometimes I can do it with no problem. Other days my knees aren't having it. If you've got room to go, you can come into the full pose, really bringing the hips to the heels, resting the hands on the knees. And this puts even more weight on the toes. It gives you a better toe stretch. Breathe into this. One more inhale here. One more exhale. And then slowly come back to table. Bring the tops of the feet onto the mat and then pitter-patter them lightly to get that circulation back into the feet. From here, come back to a neutral table position. And now we'll curl the toes under to come into down dog, lifting the hips up and back. And once you're in down dog, go ahead and pedal the feet, easing into this, checking in, making sure those palms are still pressing into the mat. The torso is as long, the sides of the torso are as long as you can get them. Alternating knees coming towards the mat. And then come to a still down dog, that upside down V. Check in with the head, neck, and shoulders. If your legs are really tight, put a bend in the knees, or if the hands or wrists are irritated, take a wider stance with the feet. But once you've come into your still down dog, check in, making sure those shoulder blades are sliding towards the tailbone. Arms are ignited, really, as if you corkscrewed the hands onto the mat. And then gently shake the head yes and no. Coming back to that still down dog, take an inhale to look forward and walk the feet right up to the hands. Coming into our first forward fold. Again, you can put a bend in the knees, especially if these upper legs are tight. You can bend the knees enough to rest the chest or the belly on the legs. So wherever you're at, grab the elbows and we'll sway side to side. Coming back to that center position, folding back in. On the next inhale, sweep the arms overhead, coming all the way up to standing, palms come together, reaching those fingertips up, maybe coming into a slight back bend. If you're back bending, making sure that navel is coming towards spine. One more inhale here, and on the exhale, bring the torso to neutral, and then over to the left. Opening that whole right side of the body. Inhale to center, exhale over to the right. Inhale back to center, drop the palms over the crown of the head, getting that upper arm stretch. Inhale, push those fingertips towards the ceiling, extending the arms, and on the exhale, drop the palms over the heart center. Taking a breath or two here. One more inhale here. And on the exhale, release the hands, shake them out. And then bring the right palm in front of you with the palm facing away. Bring the left hand to the right fingertips and gently press those fingertips towards you. So left hand's pressing right fingers towards you. Take one more inhale here. And on the exhale, we'll switch sides. Getting a little bit of a wrist stretch here. One more inhale here. And on the exhale, release the hands. Go ahead and shake them out. And from here, we're going to come into a chair pose. We're going to do it a little bit differently this morning, just with the arms. So when you come into chair, you want to make sure that all edges of the feet are pressing into the mat. And then sweep the arms up as you shift the weight of the torso into the hips. You're going to act as if you've got a yoga block between the hands and really press the arms into the shoulders. From here, lift the arms up, keeping that resistance of that imaginary block. Again, check in, making sure toes are in front of knees. And then once you see that they are, drop the arms back in front of you. Sit a little bit lower. You're acting as if your ankles are drawn towards each other. One more inhale here. And on the exhale, shift the weight, swan dive down into a forward fold, shake everything out. We're gonna do one more chair pose. Inhale as you sweep the arms overhead. Exhale to start bringing those arms forward, shifting the hips back. Checking in, toes are in front of the knees. And then think about hollowing out that low belly, hollowing out the chest a little bit. Take an inhale here. And on the exhale, we're going to sweep the arms behind us and acting as if you had that block behind you, pressing the palms towards each other. Keeping those shoulders nice and low. If you want more here, you can interlace the fingers and draw the arms towards the crown of the head. Take one more inhale here, and wherever you're at, slowly tip forward into a forward fold. Shake it out. On the next inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Big inhale here. Exhale, palms come over the heart center. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, palms over the heart center. One more time, sweep the arms up. Exhale, palms over the heart center. And then next time we sweep the arms overhead, we're gonna fold back into the forward fold. Shake out the head, neck, and shoulders. Inhale, halfway up, lengthening the spine, slight tuck of the chin. Keeping that micro bend in the knees. Big inhale here. And on the exhale, we're gonna plant the hands, step back to a plank position. Coming through the chaturanga, top of the push-up, maybe adding push-ups, maybe coming into cobra or up dog. And we'll curl the toes under and meet in down dog. And pedal the feet a couple times. Easing back into this. Lifting those hips up and back. Lengthening the sides of the torso. On the next inhale, raise that right leg up, dropping that right foot over the left hip to roll the hips open. Take an inhale here, and on the exhale, keep that bend in the right knee and bring it towards the nose. Inhale as you extend that right leg, planting it next to left, and then pedal the feet a couple times. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Inhale, left leg up, dropping left foot over right hip. Keeping that bend in the left knee, bring it under the chest as the nose comes towards me. Inhale as you extend the leg, planting it next to the right leg. We're going to come back to that right side. Inhale, right leg up. Exhale to step that right foot through to a lunge. And this may be where you grab your blocks, bringing the floor a little bit closer to you. And then check in and make sure that the right hip is in line with the right knee. There's a tendency for us to pick the hips up. And what we're looking for is a lower hip that's in a nice line with that right knee. Looking forward here. Taking one more breath here, checking in, making sure those right toes are in front of the right knee. And then on the next inhale, we're going to sweep the arms up to come into a crescent lunge. Keeping the knees in a railroad position so that the right foot is slightly over to the right side, left foot is slightly over to the left. Take one more inhale here. And on the exhale, plant that left hand to that inner right foot, wave the right arm up, coming into firefly. Hello, May. One more inhale here. And on the exhale, windmill the hands, step back to either plank and go from plank into down dog, or you can go from table to down dog. Taking a breath or two back in down dog. On the next inhale, raise that left leg up. Exhale to step that left foot through to the hands, checking in, left toes in front of the left knee. Left hip right in line with that knee. Taking a few breaths to ease into this. Really igniting that right heel back. On the next inhale, press into that left foot. Sweep the arms overhead, crescent lunge. One more inhale here. And on the exhale, bring that right hand to inner left foot, left arm towards the ceiling. Big inhale here. And on the exhale, windmill the hands either side of that left foot, coming through your transition, building heat in the body. We'll meet back in down dog. Inhale, right leg up. Exhale to come back to that lunge. Inhale, coming back to crescent. And this time we're going to add the awkward twist. Reaching forward with the left arm, reaching back with the right. Trying to turn the entire trunk to the right side of the room. One more inhale here. And on the exhale, we're going to windmill the arms, bringing them back to crescent. Take an inhale here. And on the exhale, we're going to sweep the arms behind us, bringing those palms towards each other. Maybe taking a look up at the ceiling. Big inhale here. On the big exhale, on the next inhale, arms come overhead. Exhale to come into an arrow lunge. And then release the hands, windmilling them to either side of that right foot. Step back to plank, choosing your transition. And we'll meet back in down dog. And just take a breath or two in down dog, noticing how that right side of the body feels. And then inhale that left leg up. Exhale to step that left foot through to the lunge. Inhale, arms up, crescent lunge. Exhale, left arm comes forward, right arm comes back. Try to bring that whole trunk towards the left side of the room. On the next inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Exhale, sweep them behind you. And then come into that arrow lunge, maybe sweeping the arms overhead or keeping them behind you. Big inhale here. Exhale, windmill the hands either side of that front foot. Step back to plank, coming through your transition. We'll meet back in down dog. On the next inhale, look forward, step, jump, or walk the feet to the forward fold. And this is where you may want your blocks. We're going to do a little bit with a standing split. From the forward fold, firmly plant the hands on the mat, which may mean that you need to really bend the knees. And from here, we're going to shift our weight into that left foot, lifting that right leg up. And just lift it as high as you can, trying to bring the crown of the head towards the mat. Take an inhale here, and on the exhale, we're going to come into a squat by bending that right knee and bringing it just behind the left calf and bending both knees. Sometimes this is called a curtsy squat, sometimes it's called a jiva squat. Inhale to extend that right leg back up. Exhale, bring that right knee behind the left calf. From here, you can stay in this position, or if you want a little bit more challenge, you can bring the left hand over the heart center. You can find your balance, bringing the right hand as well. and making this a balance. One more inhale here. And on the exhale, plant the hands, extend that right leg out, and then plant that right foot next to left, coming into the forward fold, shaking everything out. On the next inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Big inhale here, exhale, palms come over the heart center, taking a breath or two here. Inhale, arms come back overhead. Think about hinging at the hips, swan dive down to do the same thing on the other side. Planting the hands, maybe putting a significant bend in the knees. We're going to shift our weight into that right foot, lifting that left leg just to the point of sensation behind you. Try to bring the crown of the head towards the mat. One more inhale here. And on the exhale, put a bend in both knees. Left knee comes behind right calf. Inhale to extend that left leg back out. Exhale, coming back to that squat. Maybe making this a half balance or a full balance. Finding that focal point, staying with the breath. One more inhale here. And on the exhale, plant the hands, plant the left foot next to right, and come into your forward fold. Inhale to sweep the arms overhead, lengthening the sides of the torso. Big inhale here. And on the exhale, we're going to come back into that chair pose, squeezing those palms towards each other. Knees are behind the toes. One more inhale here. And on the exhale, bring the hands to the hips. Step back with that left foot, putting a bend in that right knee, coming into warrior two. One more inhale in warrior two. And on the exhale, we're going to tip back into peaceful warrior. But today we're going to lift that right heel if you want a little more challenge. Exhale, plant that right foot, come back to through warrior two into side angle. Trying to get that right knee to point towards that right little toe. One more inhale here. And on the exhale, windmill the hands either side of that right foot. Swivel those back toes to track straight. Step back to plank. Choose your transition. We'll meet back in down dog. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale to step that left foot through, followed by the right. Coming back to the forward fold. Inhale as you sweep the arms up, coming back to that chair position. Shoulders are low, hollowing out that low belly, drawing navel towards spine. One more inhale here, and on the exhale, hands come to the hips. Shift the weight into that the left foot, stepping the right foot back, coming into warrior two. So we're doing a lot of transitioning today. One more inhale here. And on the exhale, tip back, maybe lifting that left heel up, opening that left side of the torso, igniting that left leg. One more inhale here. And on the exhale, we'll come plant that left foot, come through the T position, bring the left arm on top of left leg, right arm up and over. Beautiful. Big inhale here. And on the exhale, windmill the hands either side of that front foot. Swivel those back toes to track straight. Step back to down dog. Pedal the feet a couple times. And then from down dog, we're going to come onto our tiptoes, bringing the knees back into a table position. We're going to extend the arms out in front of us, walking them slightly in front of the shoulders. And then push the hips back slightly as you try to bring the chest towards the mat. Trying to bring the forehead onto the mat. So we're coming into a variation on puppy pose. You want to make sure the shoulders are okay with this. So don't go past your edge, don't strain your neck or shoulders. If you've got more room to go, you can curl the toes under and come back into down dog. But we're trying to get a nice stretch across that upper back, through the arms, neck and shoulders. On the next inhale, slowly release the pose, bringing the hands under the shoulders, bring the knees to the outside edges of the mat, big toes come together, push the hips back to come into frog's pose. And frog's pose is a very similar stretch across the back. If you want a little more in frogs, bring the palms together and bring the palms over the crown of the head. Taking a few breaths here. One more full breath here. And then slowly release the pose. Coming back to a table position. Knees come back under the hips. Wag the tail a couple times, neutralizing the spine. And then we're going to cross at the ankles, roll over the legs to come down onto our backs. Using a giant imaginary beach ball to help you control the motion of coming down one vertebra at a time. And once you're down, knees come into the chest. You can rock side to side a few times. And we'll come back to a center position. Take an inhale to bring forehead to knees. And on the exhale, release head, neck, and shoulders. And we're going to come into a bridge pose. We're going to plant the feet about hip width apart. And again, you're going to act like the knees and thighs are magnetically drawing towards each other. You can bring the arms along your sides. Spread the toes nice and wide. Press evenly into both feet as you lift the hips towards the ceiling. Bringing the knees away from you. Engaging those low belly muscles. Making sure the head, neck, and shoulders are comfortable. You can stay with the arms extended along your sides. You can rock the shoulders onto themselves, kind of making a shelf, interlacing the hands under the tailbone. You can also add challenge by lifting the heels up, staying on your tiptoes. One more big inhale here. And on the exhale, slowly release the pose. And we're going to bring the feet to the outside edges of the mat, allowing the knees to rest on one another. Just taking a breath or two here. From here, we're going to heel toe the feet towards each other and come into supine cobblers. So bringing the soles of the feet together, allowing the knees to open up wide. This may be comfortable for you, or it may be very uncomfortable. And if it's uncomfortable, you can play with how close the feet are. You can kind of curl the tailbone under and just see if you can find a way to get that inner leg stretch here. And if it's too uncomfortable, just come out of it. On the next inhale, slowly bring those knees back towards each other, towards the ceiling. And we'll bring the feet out a little bit wide. And we're going to bring the arms out like cactus arms or to a T. And we're going to drape the knees in this wide stance over to the right. So the right knee is coming all the way to the floor. The left knee may be slightly lifted. If you want more here, bring that right ankle on top of the left knee. So it's like a variation on figure 4. Taking a few breaths here. if this is uncomfortable and you want to come into a traditional twist, you can do that as well, stacking the knees one on top of the other. One more inhale here. One more exhale. If that right ankle is on top of the left knee, go ahead and release it. Inhale to bring those knees through center, and we'll come over to the other side. Noticing if you have the same flexibility on this side, noticing if that right hip may be a little tighter, or maybe you have a little more range in that right hip. Shoulder blades stay on the mat. Gaze can be up at the ceiling or over the right shoulder. Staying with the breath here. Checking in with the facial muscles. Scanning the body, seeing where you can soften and let go. One more inhale here. And on the exhale, release that left ankle if it's over the right knee. Slowly bring those knees back to center. Hug the knees in. And then release the feet towards the ceiling to come into happy baby, bringing the knees wide, maybe rocking side to side, maybe bringing the soles of the feet back together. Taking a few rocks back and forth if you choose. And then we'll meet back in a center position. Extend the legs towards the ceiling. You can interlace the hands behind the legs and point and flex the feet a few times. Rotate the ankles in one direction. Rotate them in the other direction. And then bring the legs back to stillness. Sweep the arms overhead, either in that Y shape or with the elbows bent, opening the chest up. Take one more inhale here. And on the exhale, knees come back into the chest. Hug them in. And we're going to prepare for final relaxation. If you'd like to grab an extra layer, pillow, blanket, whatever you need, go ahead and do that now. And then when you're ready, extend the legs out, allowing the feet to find the corners of the mat, or maybe you want to come back into the knees resting on one another, but finding a comfortable position to integrate everything we've done. Coming back to the breath and taking rest. Slowly start to bring some movement back into your bodies. Gently rolling your head side to side. Wiggling fingers and toes. Rotating wrists and ankles. Sweeping the arms overhead to take one last full body wake up stretch from the tips of the fingers all the way through the toes. roll on to your right side. And slowly make your way up to a comfortable seated position. Eyes can be closed, gaze can be down. And on an inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Bringing the palms together, drop the palms over the heart center. Thumbs are resting on the sternum, little pressure palm to palm. Taking a few more deep cleansing breaths here. Revisiting what your intention was. Taking a few more breaths to think about how you can cultivate more kindness and compassion throughout this new year for both yourself and others. And I thank you for sharing this practice with each other and with me this morning. And may the light in me honor the light in each of you. Namaste.